everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Precision Rifle Media. This week, we're having Ken Wheeler on to talk about the PRS. But before we get into that, I just wanted to kind of talk about the show a little bit. It's been a while since I've put a show out. We've been working with Brian at Stitch Radio to up the production value here. He's going to take over all the heavy lifting and the hard work to make the show a little bit more refined. If you've listened to the show ahead of this one, you're going to be aware of kind of some of the changes. We're really, really excited to be coming back, make the show bigger and better than it ever has been. This week, we're having Ken Wheeler on. Ken with the PRS, Wisconsin Precision Rifle Steel Challenge. Ken, how are you?
I'm good, man. It's good to see your face again, and good to be back with you.
Yeah,
welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. And you, real quick, I guess while we got it, I'm saying Ken with the PRS, as most of you know, it was Shannon that was
right.
He's stepping down a little bit and you're kind of stepping up. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, my wife, Missy, many of you guys are familiar with, her and I bought the PRS from Shannon and Julie. We've been talking about it for several months now, and finally made the plunge to do it as of January here. So yeah, we're excited to be a bigger part of this. Honestly, it's been awesome the last 4 or 5 years. Working with the PRS and hosting matches and stuff, and sort of a dream come true that we can direct it now.
Yeah. Is Fortunate Son going to be the official song?
Absolutely. Just as soon as we get the copyright for that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be expensive.
So speaking of that, if any of you have listened in the past, you know that Ken runs the Barrel Maker, the Wisconsin Barrel Maker Classic. Great 2-day match. Very, very well run. Just a ton of fun. Great venue that unfortunately kind of got yanked out from underneath you guys, is my understanding.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that. The venue was fantastic.
Yeah, it was cool.
For a lot of reasons. Being a winery and a hunt club, and it had a lot of aspects of it that made hosting matches and gathering people there really, really nice. But in the long run, it just was not really well suited for long range shooting, which unfortunately was proved out this year, and we had to move on. So
yeah. With that though, speaking of the Wisconsin Precision Rifle Steel Challenge, that was are you still own that?
Yeah. Yep. We're still a big part of that. So when we lost the ability to shoot at Highlands, we had a couple other local clubs step up, local clubs and match directors that were eager to host good matches. So we set the calendar for 2023 to host matches at each one of their ranges, and then we're gonna support them and take the registrations and handle all of the championship and the prize tables and that type of thing. So those guys can really just focus on hosting matches, which is the fun part of doing it all, right? The admin side of thing isn't as much fun. So
well, it's not, but it's going to be nice because I would think that then you can have the guys really focus on providing a top-notch match.
Yep.
100% and not having to worry about all of the back end stuff, right? I think that'd be it seems like a recipe for success.
I think so. And we have a lot of structure put in place to make that happen. And it should lead to a really good year for Wisconsin. We're going to have lots of opportunities to shoot. Actually, more opportunities to shoot with those two guys hosting rather than just myself trying to do it or one other. So it'll be a fun season. And like I told everybody at our banquet last year when we were kind of arranging this, like I'm really going to be focused at least locally on just growing the sport, right? Which is also the fun part for me, that I'm not at the range setting up for 3 or 4 nights before a 1-day match or weeks before, a big 2-day like the Barrel Maker. I can really spend some time and develop shooters and get to know the guys that want to shoot and hopefully encourage them to do do more shooting, bigger shooting, maybe do some 2 days with them and that type of thing. So it's
Awesome.
exciting.
Yeah, awesome. So with Shannon stepping down from the PRS, and you stepping up, how's the transition going?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, right.
Here's what I know so far. Okay, well, that the barrel maker that you ran
Yep.
with the
Yeah.
Wisconsin Precision Rifle Steel Challenge, that was it was run extremely well. A
Thank
ton
you.
of fun, had a lot of cool props. It very quickly grew into a match that a lot of the top tier big name shooters wanted to get to, right?
Yeah.
Like it started out and it was there, and then like year two, it was like Tom Fuller's putting on brats and everybody,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and that's kind of an impressive thing today, right? Because like when me and you kind of first started shooting matches back, like what 15 or something, back when you had your
Yeah.
308, you remember that? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
at 15 there was only what maybe not even 20 matches in the country.
No, probably not. No.
Probably not, and because
Nope.
back then you'd go to Colorado and you'd shoot wherever, and
Yeah.
it'd be the same.
Texas and
Yeah, it'd be the same, like 60
you know,
people showing up,
K&M in Florida, yeah, it was the same crowd.
and now it's just getting crazy, right? And
It
and
is,
so
yeah.
and then and the point that I bring that up is because for your match to come out that way and then become a
Yeah.
match that so many people wanted to get to so quickly, right? I mean, it sold out like right away.
Yeah.
It just goes to show how well you run a match and how well you've run the Wisconsin Precision Rifle Steel Challenge. So I'm really excited to hear your answer about
Yeah.
where you go with it, because I really think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think so. A lot to unwrap there, right? I think the effort that we put into the barrel maker, um, I, I really tried to. I tried to do what the shooters in our community that want to be top shooters put everything they have into developing their skills as a shooter. And I took that same approach to match directing, right? I was constantly working on courses of fire. I was, right down to the match book and making sure I had the right people helping me to, to articulate the course of fire for each stage. And then having Missy help on the administrative side of thing, like we really polished our procedures. And then of course created relationships along the way that's what really helped us grow the barrel maker, right?
That and the shirts.
Yeah, the shirts are nice. Yeah, I think we were one of the first ones to do like a hooded sun shirt, and then it seemed like after that, every match you went to, you could get a hooded sun shirt. It's a good idea, and guys want to wear them, especially in the summertime. So yeah, so we had a lot of momentum with the barrel maker, right? And our plan of attack for hosting matches, and we had a lot of momentum with the community, the shooters and relationships we built. So I think that's what matched us up the best with what Shannon and Julie wanted in future owners. They started with the PRS in 2019, and it was without any procedures, without a lot of structure, at least on the administrative side of things and sponsor side of things, and they did a tremendous job. I was still new to it in 2019. I really didn't know. I didn't know all the players. I didn't know all the match directors. I didn't know much. But I can tell you where we are today. Shannon and Julie did an amazing job of adding all the structure to the organization that I can step in and kind of pick up where Julie's leaving off. At least on the administrative side of things. So yeah, that's we're picking up the PRS. The Shannon and Julie are going to stick on for this first year for sure. They're going to have a minority ownership in it long term, a small piece, so that there's guaranteed continuity for the community, for the sponsors, and all that. And Shannon is my right hand man. I mean, I can't believe how much in just a little over a week's time here since the announcement came out, how much I've talked with Shannon.
Well, it must be a lot because I've called you like a dozen times, and every single time it's call waiting. So
yeah, that's no joke. If you call me and I'm not indisposed at the moment, I'm answering my phone. And a lot of times I'm already on the phone with somebody. We're working things out with sponsors, or I'm working through situations with Shannon, and we're taking direction from Julie. I mean, Julie's doing an awesome job administratively handing a lot of this stuff off and coaching me on what needs to get done here.
no, that's great.
Yeah.
It's great that there's going to be a good handoff, and like I
Yeah.
said, the way you've run the Wisconsin side of things, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
I know it's pretty early, but are there any big changes that you're looking at?
Yeah. So, I mean, the short answer is no. We need continuity from Shannon and Julie's leadership to ours. I mean, they really have a good formula. So, I mean, of course, there's going to be things that we're going to work on, right? I have a different approach or different style with shooters and sponsors and all of that, and um, it'll feel different for some people, right? But it's a pretty well-oiled machine at this point. At least through this first year, we're not going to really take any drastic measures. There's some things like a lot of the match directors out west and shooters out west haven't gotten a lot of love from the organization. They're there. They put on their matches. We see each other at the finales, that type of thing. But I want to get out west and I want to shoot with those guys. I want to talk to them more. We just don't get to see each other because of the gap, and it hasn't been a focus of the PRS, in prior years. But it's on my list. It's one of the things that I consider important. Yeah, so I'll probably go out and shoot a match this year out west, maybe two. Build those relationships with the MDs, with those shooters. But another area that that we're gonna focus some energy, I think, is rimfire. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity there. The rimfire as it currently sits is basically a regional series only with a national championship at the end of the year, and there's some opportunities that we can develop maybe some pro series rimfire matches. That would be appealing to shooters, maybe another pathway to the championship, as well as maybe changing some of the divisions in rimfire. I mean, there's opportunities for maybe pre-charged pneumatic rifles to come in, or maybe having like a gas gun class. Ruger's a huge sponsor of rimfire stuff, and the 10, who doesn't have a 1022, right?
Yeah, there's like 3 of them in this room right now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not really a rimfire guy, but I have 2 1022s. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but everybody has one. So there's an opportunity, for pathway to guys get into the sport, that type of thing. So, there's lots of opportunities, and really this first year, it's getting my feet on the ground.
Yeah.
It's eyes wide open, ears wide open, listening to the community and what the needs are.
Get into the cockpit and just see what's happening.
Yeah. And almost like in the co-pilot seat, right? And
and learn the ropes.
Take some direction. Yeah.
I think the rimfire thing, I think you're right. I think that's going to be huge because, just about everybody's got access somewhere to like a 300-yard range, right? And you can do a lot of cool 22 stuff on a 300-yard range.
Yeah.
Like with the center fire stuff, as much as it's like I don't know, I think it's more fun, like, to shoot stuff really far away than it is to shoot. Like, it's really far for a 22, but it's not really far, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The opportunity there is great. You're not, like the Highlands where we had shot, like if we were shooting 22s there, it would be limitless.
The sky was the limit. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. A 300-yard range, and you could really do some cool stuff, Yep. Call Gino up and he'll help you set up a new with his
You
For
know,
anybody listening, Carnival Ballistics, they have a podcast as well. That's
yeah,
a mutual friend of ours. It's Gino and Jamie Christman, and it's Carnival Ballistics. They own a carnival, and so they talk about shooting because they're big shooters and stuff. Well, Gino's been doing like lathe turned solids and hand loading his own 22s and stuff. He's
yeah,
going crazy with it, but he'd be the
22
guy.
ELR stuff. Yeah, I mean, maybe
Yeah,
that's an opportunity too. You know, maybe
it
there's
would be because ELR for a 22 is obtainable for most people. I mean,
right.
if you want to shoot a mile, that can be kind of hard for a lot of people. And then um,
But you want to shoot 500 yards? That's a lot easier.
a lot more doable. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that gets a lot of people into the sport building guns, and then once they start doing it with 22s, they go, "Man, if I had a 375." You know?
Yeah, the gateway drug, right?
Yeah, of course, the ELR stuff's kind of going, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah. There's a lot of opportunity there with the rimfire stuff, and I'm excited to learn more about it. And you know, one of the coolest things about this opportunity getting to lead the PRS is that I'm working from home and I'm working in something that I'm passionate about. It affords me a lot more time to do the things I want to do. Spend time with family. My hours at work, um, they weren't crazy by any means, but I was pretty committed and I was there a lot, 40, 45, 50 hours a week, which may not be a lot for a lot of people, but with two small kids at home, um,
and a
I wish,
business.
and a business, right? I wish I had more time, at home. So it affords me that opportunity, but also, man, I don't have to take a vacation day to go shoot. That's on the clock time,
Oh, that's working now. Exactly.
Exactly. So,
That's a win.
yeah, it is. I think so. So, yeah, it getting a 22 this year is on my to-do list, and I got a couple local guys that I kind of trust to show me the ropes, so I don't go out and get just embarrassed, But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'll get some practice in and whatnot, and I'm excited to give it a shot. So
Yeah, it's gonna be that. You'll have a blast. I shot 122 match, but my wife's badgering me to build 22s. She's like, you gotta build a 22 because you can. They shoot them right. I don't know, 40 minutes south of my place here,
oh yeah, yeah,
and they do it monthly.
yeah, exactly.
That's
Maybe more frequently than that, right?
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
hopefully, we can get a couple 22s built and get down there and do that. And the the
yeah,
PRS 22 stuff, that is something that's interesting though, right? Is the PRS kind of? I know that there's PRS matches in the West, right? But
yeah,
the NRL really had a hold on the Western states.
yeah. So the NRL, I believe, is based out of California, and
Right.
and again, a lot of this sport is based around relationships, and that just happened to be where it was.
Exactly. So it's going to
Yeah,
be,
makes sense.
but see, they're not really doing 2 days anymore, right? So they
NRL
just,
Center Fire, yeah, they've focused on the hunter
yep, they got
style
the Hunter
matches.
series and the 22
Yeah,
stuff. But see, it'd be nice, to get the PRS stuff out here, just kind of in general,
yeah,
2 day matches. And then once the 2 day matches hit, then it can all kind of be tied together.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it can be an avenue for competition, right? And and that's what's really nice about where the PRS is right now. I mean, it's a pretty well structured system that supports the shooting community. So if that's center fire PRS, if that's rimfire PRS, if that's ELR, if whatever it is, like it all kind of fits the structure, fits the website, the way
Right.
we can track points and all that. So um, you know,
It,
it, it's
it is.
scalable.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny too, like you say that, like the PRS, they got a hold on kind of everything, right? It's to the point now where like if I have my rifle out, people will be like, "Is that one of those PRS rifles?" Like
Yeah, Kleenex. All right, it's
yes,
not
yeah,
it's
exactly.
not just facial tissue anymore. It's Kleenex.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They recognize the brand more than
Yeah,
the sport. Yeah,
exactly. So it's just kind of funny that yeah, that's I guess that's what it is.
perfect. That's that's what I want to. I really like hearing that stuff when this is my livelihood now, right? Like, yeah, Missy has a pretty good job, and the fact that she does and carries the benefits and stuff afforded me this opportunity to do this, which I mean that's amazing. Like to have that support from my spouse.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm pretty well focused and committed now to growing the sport when man, I left a pretty good engineering management job, to do
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I this is a little off topic here, and it's just kind of funny, but
sure.
that guy
So-
that was looking for a deep hole drill, which is what Ken
yeah.
worked for a
Yeah.
company with deep hole drills. So I'm like, oh, I know a guy. So I give him Ken's number, and apparently like gave him some salesman, and this salesman just
Oh
drilled.
boy.
He's like, I just need like I don't need the
Oh, he didn't want a machine. He wanted the drill, a
yeah,
gun drill.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yep. Yeah. I had a, yeah. That's one of those things, right? Like in professional life, you stay in the conduit, right? So like,
Yeah.
and being connected to firearms, there was a lot of people that I knew, a lot of customers of our equipment, that were buying gun drilling machines, that I knew personally, right? And um, yeah, I'm not a salesperson, so I wasn't gonna step in and try to make the sale happen or something. It
Mhm.
was just, hey, I need to make a connection. Here you go. This is a good salesperson. They're gonna take care of you. If you end up buying a machine, I got a project manager on my team that's gonna take care of it. It's
Yeah.
all about staying in the conduit.
So this guy gets a hold of me. He's like, "Hey, tell your boy to leave me alone." I'm like, "I don't even know who that guy is."
Right, right. That's what salespeople do, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So talking about matches,
sure.
um, it'd be nice to see more of them come to the West. And
Yeah.
as far as that goes,
You know,
it's
you have a 2-day Pro Series match this year in Pierre, South Dakota, or Huron, South Dakota. I'm sorry.
oh no, who's running that?
Yeah.
Mike running
Chris,
that again?
no, Christopher Opfer of Target
Oh,
Hanging Solutions. Yeah. Yeah. It just happens to be like of all of South Dakota, right? Um, the last 2-day PRS match was also in Huron, South Dakota.
yeah, it was up north
Yep.
of Miller there.
Yep. Yeah. We were both at that match.
Yeah, that's
I
right. You
think
spoke.
that
That's where
was
you got your nickname,
Scarface. Yeah.
Scarface. Yeah, who was I just talking to? I
Yeah.
just said that. I said I have a Ken Wheeler on the show, and they said Scarface, and I was like, yeah,
As that happened in South Dakota. That's right.
yeah.
But yeah, so
You should come out and shoot that match.
I
Stop at my
prob
place, spend the night, and we'll drive out there and shoot it.
yeah, I probably will be there. I like Christopher Opfer. He and I have known each other for a few years. He shot the Barrel Maker. He did really well there. I've rooted for him in the PRS finale, and he did AG Cup last year and shot pretty well. So really a super super nice dude. Um, and he and I've worked together even before I was taking this leadership into PRS, bouncing ideas off each other and how to administratively handle some things with match directing and that type of thing. So he's a solid dude. We're gonna bring hopefully a huge crowd from Wisconsin come out that way. I mean that's not close for us, but at least we're not driving around a huge lake or something like that. You know what I mean? It's
It's
just a straight
only
shot.
from you. It's probably 10 hours only.
Yeah, only I know.
It's not so bad.
It's not so bad, yeah, but it's still 10 hours. It's a little
Well,
different than I mean, like these guys in Oklahoma, or like take like Austin Bushman, who just had a stellar year last year and a half. He's just been crushing it, world champion, golden bullet, all of that, right? He's in the panhandle, Oklahoma. He probably has 5 matches within a 3-hour drive.
yeah,
Big
yeah,
matches, maybe not 5, but still,
right,
he's so close to it all. And you in South Dakota and in Wisconsin, we don't have anything anymore, right? I mean,
right,
it was our match.
right. It's like
Yeah.
when we shot the Guardian in Lake City. I drove out to your place, and then we went all the way down and around, and all the way back up the other side. Like that's the bummer of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it
The
was like
lake.
18 hours for you,
Yeah, it was.
man.
I wasn't crying about it.
No,
Just
I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah.
talking about matches, there's one that's good to hear that there's one out here. This is just kind of another thing. Like I've been out of this for so long, like in the last year, because I started some other stuff here, a couple other projects, and work's just been crazy, and so it was something had to go for a little while, and it was the show, right? So,
Yep.
so we're coming back, but now it's like funny because I'm kind of realizing like how far out of it I am, after just
Yeah,
a year. Like these
Right.
dudes that are winning, I'm like, who's that guy?
No joke. I mean, yeah, it seems like there's another transitioning happening, right? That's, I mean, a lot of guys that have been in the sport for a couple years, but there's a new crowd at the top, right? And it's kind of turning over again, but it's exciting. I mean, it shows that if you put your head down and work hard, and really focus on what you want, and what you want to get out of the sport, like you can get there. I've seen a lot of guys. I mean, probably the guy I'm closest with, Josh Ulicki, here. He decided to shoot AG Cup this year. He was a good shooter last year. I think he finished maybe 35th in the PRS finale last year, and I don't know where he was total in points, but he was up there. And this year he decides to shoot AG Cup. He had a couple top 10 finishes, at 2-day matches, including a second place. But then going into day 3 of the AG Cup, I think he was in 6th place. I mean, that is, he's just phenomenal. He put his head down and worked hard.
I mean, you get into those matches, you're not a slouch. You know what I mean? Like,
No. Yeah, and just probably 2 years ago, Josh and I shot a lot together, and we squatted together, and we went back and forth, and who's winning a match, and he beat me by a couple, I'd beat him by a couple, and then I mean, anybody who just can focus on this and really go after what they want, they can really make some waves and move up, and I think that's what we're seeing.
I really enjoy seeing that too. I really enjoy seeing the new names doing well. Just it really shows how big the sport's getting, and how like you said, if you're willing to put the time in, you can make it happen. Because let's be honest, for a while there, if JC Steele,
Jake Vibert, he has like 35. Yeah, he's got like 35 wins or something. Like I mean, don't quote me on that, but it's a lot of wins in the sport, of Pro Series matches. Yeah, and then Morgan King's kind of that way too now. If he's there, he's going to be hard to beat. Chad Heckler, yeah, I could probably name 50 guys.
Yeah, who was Carl? What was his name? Carl. He came
Hesser?
in. No, this was a while ago. He like started winning all the time, and was like, well, that's too easy. And then he went and started doing like some other professional something.
Oh man,
I can't think of it.
Yeah, it's a lot of guys that kind of come and go that way, and
one of those dudes that, like, when he puts his mind to something, he just crushes it, and then he's like, well, I've wanted that, I guess I'll go win at something else now.
Yep, I'll try golf or something. Yeah,
I think that might have been what he did. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like 2 years ago, I look at qualifying for the PRS finale, being in the top 150 and getting a spot. It wasn't as hard as what it was this last year, and I think even this next year, it's going to be more challenging. That the competition, the level of competition, is getting better and better, and across the board, the talent that's shooting right now, it's unparalleled. It's going to be a great year.
Awesome. So speaking of that, let's talk real quick. Back to matches and getting them around. I know that for a while there was pretty willy-nilly. Anybody that wanted to host a match could host a match, pretty much, right?
Yep.
And then Shannon kind of put some rules to it, right? So that it was structure things up a little bit better and kind of have a more consistent playing field, if you will. So what's a guy gotta do if he wants to? What do you gotta?
Yeah, so the structure really that Shannon put in place, right? I mean, there's only so many weekends in a year, so and you really don't want too many weekends that you have more than one match, right? So the number of matches is somewhat limited, right? Especially during like prime shooting season, which is end of March through through September timeframe, sometime like that. So what Shannon always looks at is, and what he's instilled in me, right? Like, okay, what other matches are in the area? What sort of numbers do they have? Are they selling out every match? Is there a wait list? Are they selling out fast? Then maybe there's enough drive there that you can pull shooters in, for a second match. It's really just using data to understand, where matches can be hosted and, how many you can have in the area and when you can have them. Like, Christopher Opp, for example, having one in South Dakota, there's no other match in South Dakota, right? So you have to look at, okay, well, what's the PRS membership like? What's the community like nearby? And really that's, Missouri. There's a strong following in Missouri with the Mo series and all those guys. There's Oklahoma, there's, the Dakotas, but if you go further west than that, it gets pretty thin. So you got to look, are guys from Minnesota going to travel? Are guys from Wisconsin going to travel? And you put it at a time of the year where, it's going to be nice in South Dakota. Like, yeah, we'll probably sell that match out with, the draw that it's going to bring, and then Chris being pretty well known in the industry. So, data says, yeah, good for a match. Now, would we host 2 there? Probably not yet, right? It depends. Like if there's a strong one-day match series there, or, let's say there's a couple different ranges in South Dakota and every one of their matches sells out at 100 shooters a month, like maybe, it's all data, right?
Right.
And that's what Shannon looked at. It wasn't personal.
Well,
I
I think
Yeah.
most people understand that. I thought there
I
was
think
some kind of
most
range requirements of some sort, though, as well. I thought it was he was looking a little bit more for like a range type of a deal rather than anybody with a big field.
Yeah, I mean, you want to make sure there's some structure in place, right? And that there's some history that of hosting 1-day matches, and as the match director, somebody that also shoots, because if they're a good shooter and they've been around the sport for a couple of years, and they understand the course of fire and what the course of fire should be and what it shouldn't be, right? So that mitigates some of that risk. And then, with new guys, like you're gonna have to follow up a little bit before they get to that point, and maybe ask some questions. What are you gonna do for an award ceremony? How many guys are you expecting? What do you plan on feeding? What do you have for sponsorship? Maybe you want to look into this to help mitigate stuff.
Speaking of what people are feeding, I think this is. I like food. All right.
Yeah.
One of the coolest ones was when not that I don't love the pulled pork or the pork tenderloin sandwiches, right? They're great.
Yeah.
And
That's
Matt
at
does
every
a good
match.
job cooking.
Yeah. Yep.
But at the Sniper's Hide Cup in 15, they had guys with a trailer and they hauled out 2 big pizza ovens and big propane tanks,
That's cool.
and they cooked
Yep.
like legit pizzas out in the middle of
Right there.
out in the middle of Colorado.
Yep.
That was
You,
a
you
cool.
know, one of the pieces of advice, and I've said this, I probably said it more than once on your podcast. But for any match director out there, this is good advice, and it came from my first conversation with Ryan Castle, who is 2 PRS directors ago now, before Shannon.
Is she still running this?
He's not running PRS matches. I don't know what he's up to.
I think he kind of got out of shooting. He was doing some bodybuilding for a while there.
Yeah, I think I've seen that on Instagram. Yeah, I haven't looked in. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, so the 2 pieces of advice he gave me was, don't make anybody poop in the woods. Make sure you have enough porta potties. Which, believe it or not, is a challenge for some shooters. For some match directors. I've been to some pretty well-known matches that are way under suited for the number of shooters there, and like, come on, man, like for $300 match, and I mean, put 2 more out, man. 3 more porta potties. You got 200 guys here. So don't make guys poop in the woods. And then if you feed them well, like that's literally half the match. Like half of the the feeling and memories of walking away from a match are, yeah, I was taken care of, you know? The other half is, of course, the fire and maybe how well you shot or how well you didn't shoot, you know? So, I mean, that's sound advice. Like that was literally our focus here in Wisconsin was just taking care of the shooters as best as we can.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we found a lot of success and sold out matches pretty quick, you know?
Yeah, you did a good job.
Thank you.
Did you sell the fire truck? Speaking of that,
We no longer have the fire truck. That was thankfully, I mean, that thing was a maintenance nightmare. So it was uh when we were losing the rights to the property, it was like, oh, thank God I can get rid of that. Like, I'm not going to burden anybody else with the
yeah,
fire truck. Yeah, so it got sold to a little kind of hobby farm, an older couple that goes around to a lot of county fairs and whatnot, and they do duck racing and goat racing and stuff like that. But they also they also grow pumpkins on the property, so they have like kind of a fall, like, pumpkin patch deal set up with playground and, pumpkins all over the place and a fire truck now the kids
ah,
can play
nice,
on.
great.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fun.
I thought that was pretty well suiting, right? And
Yeah,
it's only like 5 miles south of where we used to shoot too, so it didn't have to limp very far to get home,
you pull it there practically. Yeah,
almost. No, we sold some of our props and some of our well, I sold the moving target system, but I still have all my steel. I don't know what it's going to look like hosting a national finale at some point, but we're going to work with match directors and move the national finale around. But I I'm leery to sell my steel because I either locally we're going to need to use it, or in a scenario where a national finale and maybe a goofy location or something like that. I don't. Uh, I'm not necessarily as interested in pounding posts as I used to be,
no.
but
Well,
I'm
wasn't
not
it?
getting rid of them.
Who was it that had like their match trailer stolen?
There was some, yeah, it was like 2018.
Yeah, and then I mean, it'd be just good to
Yeah,
have.
big and close.
I mean, if somebody's got a 2 day match, they might be willing to drive a couple of 4 states over to pick on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. So we had all of our steel posts and targets and all that in a Connex box, like beautifully hung up on hooks, like it was a really legit setup. When we sold the Connex boxes, and when we had to get off the property and that type of thing, and so I put all that in a shed, and I can't believe when it's packed in there that it's probably 30 or 40,000 hours of the steel, and it takes up no space. It looks like nothing. You
Yeah,
would, if I went to sell that and put a price tag on it, people would be like, "Are you serious?"
yeah.
you know?
Well, and like steel prices have gone up so
Oh,
drastically in the last 2 years. That I'm sure when you bought it, it was
oh
considerable
yeah,
that it is now. Even
right. Yeah, we we bought it sort of, cheap. It was expensive at the time, but now it's crazy.
right.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing too. I mean, it comes down to the wire, and somebody steals a match trailer or something like has happened.
Yeah, I mean, we're ready to go.
So
And there's a lot of good companies out there that can ship stuff quick too. Target Hanging Solutions or JC Steel or
mhm,
shootsteel.com. I mean, there's a lot of good companies out there that hopefully can react to that.
yeah. Um, so the PRS is also a worldwide organization.
Yes.
I was I had a lot of questions for Ken, and he was kind of like, "Look, you don't want to get into that."
he Yeah, so yeah, you are correct, and on multiple accounts. We do have affiliates in Europe, Africa, South America, Central America. Um, I I'm looking forward to getting to know those guys a lot better and helping them develop their regions, the countries they're in, continent, I guess, in um, Australia's case and Europe and all that.
Is
Yeah,
Mongolia still got one?
They had, I cannot confirm. I have so many.
'Cause that's where I want to go.
Yeah, it would be cool. I would love to go to Europe and shoot. I want to look into what it takes to actually get a rifle over there and the paperwork and all that. But I do want to try shooting over there. I think it would be awesome. Not necessarily in like the IPRF because I don't think I don't have the talent to be able to represent Team USA there. But I wouldn't mind shooting a PRS style match over there. That would be
Yeah.
cool. But
I'm more of like a going to Ireland and shooting the Guardian where like,
that would
no,
be
it's for a
cool.
good cause.
Yeah, exactly. Like hit or
Yeah,
miss targets.
yeah.
It's
Doesn't
still
matter.
cool.
I'm still helping.
Yep. Yeah, so there are activities and tasks that need to take place here really soon to unify the sport over, especially in Europe. Um, we have talked about it. Um, Man, I can't believe I used to do this sort of part time, right, outside of engineering, and now it's my full time job, and the sheer number of tasks and phone calls. I cannot believe where the time is going. Like I set out first thing in the morning. Okay, I'm going to knock this task out. Julie and I are working on whether it be banners or the big Armageddon Gear Cup checks, the website, getting the website updated with new sponsor information, all that on there. Like all that stuff shouldn't take much time, but it's taking days to do it, especially amongst phone calls and other things. And Shannon keeps telling me like, man, you got to get through this stuff. And then we got to talk about PRS Europe. Like we're probably gonna have a few weeks where it's nothing but our focus here. Probably at the end of this month, early next month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got your hands full.
I did
Big
honestly,
shoes to fill.
dude. I did not. I don't think most of the community really understands the efforts that Shannon and Julie put in. It gets talked about a little bit here or there, especially at the finale. I think Shannon does a good job of giving praise where praise is due, and talking about efforts. But
I think
um,
that level too, when you get to like the finale or the AG Cup and stuff, like I
yeah,
think a lot of those people are pretty tied into the sport as well, right? And they know the people and they know what's happening,
yeah,
how it goes. Where like the guys that
yep.
just shoot the match because it's down the road and they want to try it,
You're
doesn't mean
absolutely
them,
right. Well, and I felt like I was, especially being a match director and having to communicate with the PRS, Shannon, Julie, Christy. I thought, I'm like, yeah, I have a pretty good idea what they do on a, kind of a daily, weekly basis or whatever. And I'm getting into it, and thankfully she has everything squared away. I mean, she is super organized, but it's like, wow, you made this out of nothing. I know in 2019 when you took over, none of this was there.
No,
And
it was in
yeah,
things were pretty rough in 19. I mean,
yeah,
for any listeners who weren't around shooting back then, like the PRS had some ups and downs over the
yeah,
years. You know what? Rich Emmons started it in what,
yeah. 12,
13,
I think.
12,
12. Yeah.
13,
Yep.
sold it in probably 16, 15, 16.
Yeah, he sold it to a group of guys, I think.
And then
Yeah.
from there it went to, it's gone through, I don't know.
I think we're the fifth owner, honestly,
Yeah.
in 10 years, which is crazy. I mean, to think where the sport came from in 2019 to where it is today. And
So okay, real quick, I gotta
yeah,
cut you off on this because it made me laugh. Okay.
sure.
Um, I saw a post and somebody was like, I just shot a precision rifle match and it was
Yeah.
so cool. They had a pistol stage.
Oh
And I
boy.
was like, oh man, we went full circle.
Oh.
We, we
Yep.
started and there used to be like a pistol stage or two, and now we're coming around to where people are like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that is where it started, and there's I'm not even gonna try to hide or act like I was there when it happened, but like in the beginning, it was kind of the Wild West, right, of matches. You didn't know what to expect when you showed up at a match.
I used to have
Um,
drop guns and stuff.
yeah, Yeah, I
like
mean,
or like JP'd send a rifle and you'd shoot a match with or a stage with their rifle, you know?
yeah, yeah, and I mean, you'd have all sorts of interesting stuff, and a lot of it would be like scenario driven. Like it might actually be a recreation of a sniper scenario that happened in real life. Really, I mean, stuff that's fascinating, and that would be a lot of fun to do. But if it's a little gimmicky, or if things are left to chance, um, you just don't have the same parity of competition, right? Um, and it happens in every developing sport. Like you have
Yeah.
to mature it.
It'd
it
be too much because you got
yeah,
it's just it's hard enough to find ROs and it's hard enough to find
yeah,
ROs who know what they're doing, and then
yeah.
when it's,
So I mean, there's a lot of guys from the original core group of shooters that that it's not their style of shooting anymore, and that's okay. I still like to do, like, I mean, that stuff is interesting. It would be fun to shoot that stuff. I don't want to shoot that and put my year on the line. I think that's where a lot of shooters are at, where they look at the PRS calendar and say, "All right, I'm going to shoot a couple 1-day matches here and there, and here are the big 2-day matches I'm going to commit myself to, with the goal of making the finale and shooting well there." And you don't want to go to a match that you might have a couple stages that it comes down to chance. You want kind of that guaranteed course of fire that it's like, okay, it's going to be on me. I'm gonna go. I just need to go there, perform, make good trigger presses, make good wind calls, and be my best, and not like gamble on, do I shoot that target worth 10 points, or this one that I shoot this one that's worth a point, but I can shoot it so many times, or spinner targets, which I've learned my lesson with, and you know, you know,
yes.
the sport has developed away from a lot of that.
I think
Um,
I think is kind of probably the way for that stuff to continue would be like, I'm just going to use the most guys down in Missouri
yeah,
because they're like an OG crew, right? Like
yeah,
they're
they
they're
were
they're from
first
way
regional
back,
guys.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Um, if you go to a most, maybe they're not even the right one because they're pretty developed at this point too, I believe.
very, very, yeah, probably the most developed in the country
Yeah.
for a regional series.
But like,
Yeah,
I feel like those regional matches or like the even break it down one more and even just kind of the guy who puts one on. That's where all the goofy
yeah,
stuff, all the weird stuff. Like I shot a Texas Star one time with a precision rifle at like 580 yards. That was pretty cool.
it
But you're not
is.
gonna have that at a match. Because
No,
I mean, just setting it
no.
up is, you know,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, yeah, how are you gonna get out there and reset it and all that? Like the Guardian style matches, where you're there for a good cause. You're contributing in different ways, and you're not there for points. You're not there, no, well, I don't want to say nobody. You shouldn't be going to those matches thinking like, "God, that I'm going to walk away with this with a win," right? You're going there because you're part of a community for a good cause. So that's perfect, right? Like you can have a lot of fun like that, and put different stressors on the shooter,
mhm.
make them do a bunch of goofy shit that yeah, you
Yeah,
wouldn't you wouldn't
exactly.
want to be held to if your national title was dependent on it, or you
Right,
making the
right.
national finale. So
No, I agree. I think that's cool. That's like where the Guardian matches are so cool too because they can
yeah,
just do like whatever they want and so you didn't win,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. It's not about winning, right? It's about having
Right.
a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
And then realistically, that's kind of how I look at every match, to be honest with you, because at this point, I know I'm not going to win,
right.
um, but I get to go hang out with a bunch of friends and
Heck yeah.
you know,
Heck yeah.
see a bunch of people that I don't get to see very often.
We don't see you enough, man.
Oh, man. It's
I
funny. I
was
moved. Part of my move was like, well, there's a lot more shooting out west. A lot more open ground. And then like I
Yeah.
moved away, and then
Then you
like
started the family.
and then you guys were all like, how about we just start this huge precision rifle thing out in Wisconsin where Kirk just left? How about we do that?
Yeah, you would have been in a good spot here, man. We're
Yeah,
close by in a lot of ways. Even
yeah,
even now, we're shooting in Lodi and we're shooting at Columbus. that wasn't far from where you used to live.
No,
Yeah.
no. Up and a lot of people still practice up at Shackton there,
Yeah. Yeah. I
That's
visited
just-
this fall, right before
Oh,
the
yeah.
finale. Yep.
They
It's a good
still
it's a
got
good spot to shoot.
is it they still got those big target stands I made, the big racks and the
I doubt it. The everything is so beat up out there. I mean, a public range for I think it's $10 now.
yeah.
It used to be 5. I think it's $10 now, but um I mean you just get a lot of yahoos that, show up with very big magnum calibers
Well,
and
the
they
problem
feel
I had, I used to if I shot a match and I could pick up steel off the target off the prize
yeah,
table, I would throw it up down there, and I
yeah,
had a good relationship with the sheriff that ran it and stuff. And I built a bunch of target stands out of old well casing.
there
Just
you go.
brought the
Yep.
welding truck down there and burnt it all together. Well, then is
Yeah.
what happened was guys were coming down there with their 50 cals with
Yeah.
EPI rounds and just burning holes through everything. And then I'd
And
sit
there's
you welding all that back up, and
and those guys are so proud that they can hit that target at 500 yards, and
I know.
you have our Wisconsin precision rifle guys there with
And okay,
baby
just to
baby
clarify too,
calibers.
Just to
Yeah.
clarify too, like the plate that Ken's talking about, if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's like a 4x5 sheet of steel.
Oh, it's a car door. Yeah.
Yeah, it's seriously, it's like 3x4 or 4x5. It's like a big giant plate of
Yeah.
steel, and guys are so proud they can hit that thing at 500 yards.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, and then,
like 570.
yeah, and then we look at their bullet impacts that they make on there, and then we shoot little groups around it.
Yeah.
You use those as your spotting areas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, point of aim.
Yeah, and they just wreck. Ah, that's a bummer, but it is.
Yeah, that is what it is. It's public range.
But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's. I'm glad that there's going to be a match out here. I'm going to have to do a little digging.
We will have to do some digging into that, man.
Good.
I'll drag you there, like it or not. And
Yeah, let's
you
do
can't
it.
you
Drive
can't
out.
say you don't have a rifle or anything. I have plenty of equipment.
Oh,
I will.
I got rifles. I've been building rifles. And,
There you go.
I think I'm going to put a 6GT barrel on it and get back into shooting.
I
got the reamer.
I'm a fan of 6GT. It's what I tell people. If you're getting into the sport, I mean, you can't go wrong with either a 6BR or 6GT. I think there's enough technology and equipment out there now that you can get BRs to feed pretty well out of a mag.
Yeah,
but one of those two calibers, unfortunately, right now, like you can't really get Lapua brass. I guess the war in Ukraine's putting havoc on that. But
I guess they shut down a whole bunch of lines that temporarily stopped making a bunch of brass.
Right. Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, I'd I'd rather not have brass than to be under siege. But
Yeah,
there's a lot of other like Alpha Munitions, Peterson. I mean, they make good brass, so you can find other avenues. But yeah, I mean, 6BR, 6GT. You can't really go wrong with one of those two and getting into the sport.
So I guess we're kind of going to wrap things up here. I think, Ken, we should do like a state of the PRS.
Do this annually?
Semi-annually or annually.
Sure.
State of the PRS address, and you can come on. And
first off,
and then is what we'll do is we'll compile them all together into one show where this is the first one where you're all like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna get it, and it's gonna be great. And then like 2 years down the road, you're gonna be like chain smoking cigarettes with a bottle of whiskey. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. How like and somebody mentioned this to me the other day too. You know how presidents go into the office, right? And like they're kind of young and full of energy. And there's that picture that was taken like, oh, this is when, on their inauguration day. And then the picture 4 years later and like, wow, that was only 4 years.
Yeah.
He looks like he's aged a decade. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I probably going to lose some hair. The mustache will probably get gray. I don't foresee that I'm going to lose any passion for this. I love the sport. I love the community. I love being able to have the opportunity to do things like this with you and other and getting to spend time with shooters and being a part of it. Right. And I think, I guess if I were to have one goal this year is that, you don't have guys that just say like, yeah, I shoot PRS. Right. I mean, that's kind of what I think a lot of people say, when asked if they do this type of sport, I really want people, to say, yeah, I'm a part of the PRS. Like I love doing it. I love being a part of the community. I'm part of the PRS, whether it be center fire, rim fire, whatever it is. Uh, and that's really the thing from Wisconsin that I think I can bring to the sport, and that's what we did with the barrel maker. We really wanted to make people feel like they were part of that match, and it was special to us. So if we can apply that to the sport,
country,
to the country, then I feel
world.
really good about it. Yeah, this is honestly, it's the greatest community I have ever been a part of. Even just as a shooter, I would say this. The relationships made in this community have just been super special to me, and I'm honored to be a big part of it now, and I want others to feel special that they are a part of it as well.
Awesome, Ken. If people have questions, comments, concerns, they want to find out more information or whatever, where are we sending them?
Yeah, obviously the website, right? PrecisionRifleSeries.com. You can get on there. Buy. We're beginning of the year. It's a good time to get memberships. Whether you're going to be a regional shooter, pro series shooter, AG Cup shooter, etc. But on there is the About Us page. You can be able to see a picture of the mustache, my mug.
Yeah.
And right next to it's an email at ken@precisionrifleseries.com.
Old Scarface Wheeler himself.
No, I don't think the scar actually stuck around. I think we're good.
The nickname's going to stick.
The nickname has outlasted the scar.
I'm going to have to. That's the thing. I've been gone for so long. I was on a crusade to get that to stick, but I did have somebody bring it up. I can't remember who it was, but I was like, Ken Wynn. They're like, "Is that Scarface?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yep.
So cool, man.
Awesome.
So PrecisionRifleSeries.com.
Yep.
Anybody listening that's got questions, comments, or concerns for me, it'd be Kirk@PrecisionRifleMedia.com. So with that, everybody, man, I really appreciate you listening. This is the first show I've done in, oh boy, it's been a while. I hope you guys are ready for it to come back bigger, better, and stronger than ever. I'm really excited to have Brian and his guys behind us, and we're really gonna knock it out of the park. So that's, again, guys, if you got questions, comments, or concerns for me, it's Kirk@PrecisionRifleMedia.com, or you can just go to PrecisionRifleMedia.com, click on the Contact Us section, and that'll shoot me an email from there. So with that, I'd love to hear some. Who do you want me to have on? Who do you want to hear talk? Who do you have questions for? Get a hold of me where I told you to go, and suggest a guest, and we'll make it happen. So with that, everybody, I really appreciate you. Take care. Try to get to the range, and I'll talk to you next week. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.